are all enjoying your holiday season, whatever you're celebrating. I hope it's awesome. Hope you're not enjoying it too much, if you know what I mean. January is just around the corner and it's the big joke. Everyone starts their New Year's resolutions. Everybody wants to lose weight, blah, blah, blah. And the first thing everybody does is either join a gym or start a diet. Now, the thing is that diets tend to be set up in order for you to fail. So before you guys all run off on a fad diet of some sort and suffer and complain and not understand why you can't possibly sustain that, I'm going to talk about 3 different types of, I guess you can call it dieting, but are also ways. They're lifestyle changes. They're made for you to create healthier habits for a healthier lifestyle. And of course, in turn, you will lose weight, which will be great. You can transform your physique completely using these different ways. Now, not one way is better than the other necessarily. It really just depends on your goals and what works for you. So the 3 types are flexible dieting, which is also called IIFYM. If it fits your macros, you've heard me talk about it. You've heard me talk about it before. Clean eating, as well as intuitive eating. So I'm going to talk about each one briefly and kind of go over the pros and cons for each one so that maybe I can help you figure out which one you'd be better at. So clean eating is basically trying to eat as little processed foods as possible. I know in this day and age, it's a little difficult to work around that. Some people go as far as not even eating the protein powders that have artificial sweeteners in there. But basically you want to stick to whole foods, nutrient-dense foods that are full of vitamins and minerals and phytochemicals, all things that are really, really good for your body. And that is something that I would highly recommend you do regardless of any other way you decide to approach your diet. Anything that comes out of a package or a tube or anything that is not from the ground, from the earth, is basically considered something that is not clean. Flexible dieting, if it fits your macros, that's basically, and I've talked about this before in previous videos, you are allocated a certain amount of proteins, carbs, and fats for the day, and no matter what you decide you want to eat that day, as long as it fits that criteria, as long as you hit your goals, you're good. Intuitive eating basically runs on a principle, it basically makes you fall back to your roots. When you're a baby and when you're hungry, you start crying because you're hungry, so you eat. When you're a baby, you don't eat because it tastes good. You eat because you're hungry and you stop when you're full. So basically intuitive eating focuses more on just exactly that, just eating when you're hungry and stopping when you're full. Sounds easy, right? It's also a way you're very conscious and taking into account how much energy you're gonna be spending throughout the day. So for example, if I'm feeling slightly hungry, but I know I'm gonna be doing a workout later, I might have a bigger meal to be able to sustain that workout. And then post-workout, I know that, like there's certain foods that I should have after a workout and I will eat them and then that's it. The way you slice it, I think you should have a knowledge of what you are putting in your body. So for example, you eat your protein because you want to build that lean mass and it preserves the muscles that you tear up in the gym. You want to eat your carbs because you want that energy in the gym. That is your body's first source of energy. And then of course your fats help you absorb certain vitamins and minerals that you get from foods, from the sun even. And they basically just help everything function. So, I mean, it's also good for you to know before you put anything in your mouth, like what is it? Like, for example, if I'm gonna work out, then, well, I'm gonna need energy. So I'm gonna need carbs. Now, do I want like a complex carb, a simple carb? That's up to you. I prefer something that's gonna keep me full longer. So I'll pick something that's more complex. Whereas the simple sugars, I'll probably eat afterwards because I'm gonna need that replenishment very quickly after a workout, for example. Or like protein, for example, I would have after my workout because I would want to start my recovery process, and the protein and the amino acid profiles will help me with that. The benefits of clean eating, like I said before, you're eating a lot of nutrient-dense foods, so your body is getting a lot of what it needs. And so naturally you're gonna feel better, your energy levels are gonna be higher. Chances good you're eating a diet that's a bit lower in sugar, I mean, you'll be getting sugars from other things as well. There are fruits and veggies that contain sugars, and so it'll be the sugars that your body particularly needs. And you'll notice that over time, your cravings for refined sugars, they drop significantly, actually. And I know from experience that when I clean up my diet, my physique just looks better generally. I'm less bloated. My sodium intake is naturally lower as well, so I'm not holding as much water. The flip side, the cons to clean eating does include the fact that it can be slightly limiting in some ways. Now, I'm not saying that like clean eating equals chicken and broccoli and rice all the time. Like by all means, that's not it. But you know, it can be tough to go out and eat in restaurants, which can impact your social life as well. It's hard. It can be slightly tougher to keep things unless you're keeping it like bare bones and being as simple as possible. I just do it sometimes because I'm lazy, I'm not gonna lie. But if you want to get fancier with things, recipes can be a little bit more demanding. So, you know, if you're the type of person who doesn't like to spend a lot of time in the kitchen, and another thing is that the reason why it's hard to eat out in restaurants because you don't always have that control necessarily over what goes into your food. You don't always know if it's, you know, if they made it in-house, if it came from a can. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but if you're somebody who really wants to keep strict to that, then it could be a problem. The benefits for flexible dieting, for example, that allows you to have a little bit of both worlds. So you can have, you know, you can have your apples, you can have your chicken, you can have your rice, you can have your broccoli, you can have all your vegetables, but that day you can also have a slice of pizza as long as you put it all together properly in MyFitnessPal or any calorie counter, for example, then you're fine. And so that kind of allows more variety into your diet, which could help as well. Now, if you're the type of person who doesn't like to track your food meticulously, this might not be the diet for you, because you do have to calculate things in advance or as you go. Sometimes I find if you're not used to it and you kind of just started and you think to yourself, wow, I can eat all the things. And so you go shopping and you buy all the things and suddenly you're overwhelmed and you don't really know what to eat, what decisions to make. Sometimes I'll advise clients who want to do macro plans to build a perfect day around what they made, around the groceries that they just bought, build a day's worth of meals and kind of follow that for a week. Start doing that, and then once they get comfortable and knowing, you know, because I mean, like offhand, I'll know that like if I'm having a cup of steel cut oats, it's like 50 grams of carbs or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I know I'm much more aware now of what foods contain what. But if you're just starting out, it might be a little bit of a bumpy start. So I would say to start with something a little bit more regimented at the beginning and kind of work your way into being a little bit more flexible. Now, just like anything else, for flexible dieting, you still need discipline. And it is much harder, especially when you're integrating things with refined sugars, because it can be very addictive. And I find personally that the deliciousness of refined sugars and all those fun carby treats can lead to poor judgment. And then suddenly your flexible dieting becomes days full of eating cookies and ice cream and not feeling so good anymore, and you are hungry, but that's because your blood sugar is spiking all the time and you're crashing from all the sugar that you're eating and whatnot. Now these are like really extreme cases. I know a lot of people out there think that, oh, flexible dieters eat nothing but junk, but that's not true. I mean, people who are successful in that plan their days properly in order to be able to allow for that. But like I said, if you're new to it and you're excited because you have a diet that allows you to eat all the cookies, you might have a little bit of trouble in the discipline aspect of it. So now, for somebody who wants to follow something that's more flexible but doesn't really necessarily need or want to track down their macros, intuitive eating would be perfect. You know, it allows you to have a very healthy mindset, healthy relationship with your food. It allows you to make sure you are very aware of your satiety levels And overall, it's a very balanced and well-rounded way of living and eating, which is great. And I encourage anybody to do that. If you're the type of person who wants to be cutting down for a competition, for example, or building that lean mass, unless you come from a background of doing flexible dieting where you're really well aware of the macronutrient profiles of all your food, you're not necessarily 100% sure about what's going into your body and what's not, right? There's no real way of knowing for sure what you're getting in a day. And so it would be hard to manipulate the variables in order to make sure you start making that progress that you want. If you're the type of person who eats their emotions basically, and uses food to cope with anything, which is very common because we are conditioned in that way. You know, the classic case of the breakup with the ice cream. I mean, it's hard to steer away from that. And so for somebody who struggles with that, I would not recommend going into intuitive eating right away. Whether you decide to eat intuitively, whether you're deciding to do flexible dieting or clean eating, they're not mutually exclusive. You can't do one without the other. I mean, I can have a macronutrient profile, but only eat my meals, for example, when I'm hungry, and just make sure by the end of the day that I hit them all. But I can also choose, while I'm dieting flexibly, to eat all clean, nutrient-dense foods. For example, right now, as you may know, I am doing a pre-competition prep, and I've got my macronutrient profiles, but I choose to eat whatever I want basically in the day. And I personally just choose to eat cleaner foods. So again, you can kind of pick and choose and do like a poo-poo platter of all three if you really want to. But it all depends on you. It depends on your goals and what you want to do. The bottom line is nourish your body for your goals, but also nourish your body for you, for your own personal health, because this is your temple. This is what you need to take care of, right? So whatever you decide to do, it really needs to work for you. Don't try to force yourself to do something that you don't enjoy and you don't like, because it's not going to last. You have to think lifestyle and you have to think long term. If you don't see this happening for a very long time, then I would suggest you stop, reevaluate your goals, and try to find something else. Try to find another method. And talking to your local professionals always helps as well, because they can help you and guide you through that. I hope you have a clearer sense a little bit of what each one is and what maybe might work for you. If you need any help or want to chat about that, you can send me an email at sophie.proto@gmail.com. Follow me on all my social media. You know, I am on Instagram at Broadway Bunny. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter at Sophie P Fitness. And I also recently started Snapchatting, so you can check me out. My username is sophiep.fitness. So you can add me on that. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope you liked it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and keep checking back for more. Subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Sophie P Fitness.